Sexual harassment is a serious manifestation of sex discrimination at workplace and a direct violation of human rights. It undermines equality and questions physical, emotional, and psychological integrity and dignity of workers. Thus, fighting with this evil becomes a vital dimension of healthy and conducive working environment. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Richa Tyagi, Assistant Professor, Department of Law at Trinity Institute of Professional Studies, Dwarka, welcome you all in this exclusive webinar on prevention of sexual harassment at workplace in collaboration with Southwest District Legal Authority. It is an honor to welcome our chief speaker for the session, Mr. Rahul Budhiraja, Advocate, High Court of Delhi. Welcome you, sir. I would also like to welcome respected Dr. R.K. Tandon, Chairman TIPS, Dr. Barka Beher, Director TIPS, Dr. Shashi Bala, Principal Law Department, Dr. Y.S. Kataria, Dean TIPS, and Mr. Gagandeep Singh, Registrar TIPS. I welcome all my dignitaries. I would now like to invite our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Dr. R.K. Tandon, to kindly share his words of wisdom and address the gathering.
Good afternoon and welcome to Trinity. It is our proud privilege and honor to host an exclusive webinar in collaboration with Southwest District Legal Services Authority on the topic of prevention on sexual harassment at workplace. I heartily welcome the honorable members of Southwest District Legal Services Authority. I would also like to thank Southwest DLSA for their constant support and collaboration with us for such enriching sessions. I heartily welcome our honorable guest and an eloquent speaker, Mr. Rahul Budhiraja, Advocate, High Court of Delhi. We are looking forward for the insights of Mr. Rahul Budhiraja on this burning issue. I also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Barka Beher, Director TIPS, Dr. Shashi Bala, Officiating Principal Law, Senior Associates, Law Faculty, and my dear students. Sexual harassment is a behavior. It is defined as an unwelcome behavior of sexual nature. Sexual harassment at workplace is a very widespread problem in the entire world, whether it be a developed nation or a developing nation or an underdeveloped nation. Atrocities against women is common everywhere. It is a universal problem giving negative impact on both men and women. The landmark case of Vishakha and others versus State of Rajasthan laid down guidelines for the prevention and redressal of the complaints by women who were sexually harassed at workplace. The guidelines entrusted the employer with the obligation to provide a safe and women-friendly environment. Even after Vishakha, judgment came into force almost a decade ago. The implementation of guidelines could not take place. After many controversies and delays, a new development came up, that is, our Indian legislature passed the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 to provide the protection sexual harassment and also to form a redressal mechanism in this matter. In conclusion, I would like to state that there are some cases of sexual harassment which owe their origin with mutual consent. For example, there could be a scenario where the friendship among the colleagues or friends starts on consensual basis, but it takes a U-turn under unfavorable circumstances and leads to the cases of false complaint of. Situation could be where there is a pre-malice intention of lodging a false cases. Like to put stress on this, that dear students, please be aware and conscious when it comes to choosing friends in the institution or anywhere else where you all would be working. With these words, I conclude. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would request Dr. Barka Beher, Director TIPS, to kindly speak few words and share her thoughts and opinion with us. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Richa. Good morning, one and all present today. The Gender Sensitization and Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committees of Trinity Institute of Professional Studies under the Aegis of Internal Quality Assurance Committee feels privileged and honored to welcome you all in today's webinar on prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. I heartily Buddhi Raja, Advocate High Court of Delhi, for agreeing to share his views on the said topic. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and be part of this. And I hope that whatever you will be sharing with all of us, students will largely be benefited with this. And it is in India's first law specifically addressing the issue of workplace sexual harassment and was enacted in December 2013 by the Ministry of Women. Is protecting women against sexual harassment at the workplace and for the effective redress for complaints of sexual harassment. The Act is also valid at the extended workplace, which includes any place visited by the employee during the course of employment. So, what I feel is that during the student life, apart from the studies which you are doing, you should learn how to behave, act, communicate, and respect each other so that when you are working at your workplace, you know the etiquettes, that how you have to behave and communicate and respect each other for a successful employee, and no such act should take, no such incident should take place. So, looking for insights from uh, our guest, Mr. Rahul Buddhiraja, today on this, I welcome once again Dr. Mr. Rahul Buddhiraja for the session. And I also extend my thanks to Dr. Shashibala ma'am and whole her team members, Richa, Akshita, members for holding this webinar at this scale. And I hope with this, the students will be largely benefited and will be adopting a very good behavior, manners, etiquettes, so that they are a successful human being ultimately. I also express my heartfelt thanks to our Chairman Sir Dr. R.K. Tandon for encouraging all of us to conduct these sessions, and he really has created a very good work environment at the Institute too. Thank you so much, sir. Now over to Richa. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rahul Buddharaja is legal aid counselor with Southwest DLSA and is also practicing advocate at High Court of Delhi. He holds expertise in criminal law and family law matters and is in practice for past 10 years. He did his LLM in intellectual property rights from GGSIPU. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. Now, I would like to invite sir to kindly commence the session. Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, I am very thankful to the Trinity Institute, Dr. R.K. Tandon, Madam Barkha, Madam Richa, and all the learned faculty members and dear students who have given me this opportunity, their precious time, to make some awareness about this very, very important issue. And I'm really thankful to my DLSA Learned Secretary, ma'am, Manu Goyal also, ma'am, that giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important issue. I should start my session with one quote. I hope you will all appreciate and definitely agree with me that any society that fails to harness the energy and creativity of its women is at disadvantage in this modern world. I'm audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you. So, I repeat, any society that fails to harness the energy and creativity of its women is at disadvantage in this modern world. We have to almost all 15 years, rather more than 16 years was taken to make a law which is known as Sexual Harassment of Women Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. It was in 1997 that the Supreme Court formulated guidelines after the very sad and horrible incident which happened. The students which are part of this session, I know the learned all faculty members must be knowing about this Bhavri Devi case, but the law students who are also the part of this session, I should just tell them briefly about this incident. Bhavri Devi was an Indian social worker. She was a social worker from an NGO, Bhateri village, Rajasthan, who was gang raped while working under the Rajasthan government's Women Development Program. As a part of the program, she had to spread awareness about hygiene, family planning, and necessity of educating girls, along with campaigning against female foeticide, infanticide, dowry, and child marriages. As a part of her duty, she was stopping the wedding of a 9-month-old, I repeat, 9-month-old Gujar daughter of Ramkaran Gujar. To her dismay, she was put forward to social punishment for stopping this marriage, and very bad happened to her by Ramkaran Gujar and his 5 friends in front of her husband. After that, all this incident, Bhavri Devi filed a criminal complaint. Then you will be very sad to know that all the accused were acquitted by a trial court. The NGOs, various NGOs of the country filed an public interest litigation in the Supreme Court under the collective platform of Vishakha. That is why the guidelines is known as Vishakha guidelines. Then after 1997, after the passing of 16 years, the act came by the parliament. You can just imagine that it took 16 years for the parliament to enact an act for this purpose, for prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace. It was Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2018. Then I will tell you what are the important characteristics or the important points that which comes under this act, which covered under this act. And because the parliament enacted this act to protect the fundamental rights, 1, 2, the gender equality and right of life and liberty under the articles 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution, because the parliament, when enacted the law, said that it is a clear violation of the rights under article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution, the court issued a writ of mandamus and the following directions for preventions were passed. And it was after, when the act was enacted, it became the part of that act. The complete Vishakha guidelines became the part of the act. What the act says is, it shall be the duty of the employer or other responsible persons in workplaces or institutions to prevent sexual harassment and to provide for the resolution and settlement mechanism. Every institute should have the proper mechanism to solve, to look into the complaints or the redressal. Every institution should have this proper mechanism at their end. The code defined what constitutes sexual. In the act, it comes that what are the crimes or the wrongdoings which has been the part of this act. Number 1, physical contact and advances. Number 2, a demand or request for sexual favors. Number 3, sexually colored remarks. Number 4, showing pornography. Number 5, any other welcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct or gesture of sexual nature. What are the preventive steps? The preventive steps are, all employers should take appropriate steps to prevent sexual harassment without prejudice to the generality of the obligation. They should take the following steps. Number 1, express prohibition of sexual harassment as defined above at the workplace should be notified, published and circulated in appropriate ways. I will clear this point. For example, in our institution, in our court premises, in our college, in our campus, it should be on the various places about this act, educating about this act. The members of the committee who are been appointed by the university or by the college, their mobile numbers, their address of the office should be specifically mentioned at the workplace and should be notified, published, and circulated in appropriate ways, and should be upgraded from time to time. If there are any changes in the members, any changes in the address, any changes in the telephone number, it should be upgraded from time to time. Number 2, the rules and regulations of government and public sector bodies relating to conduct and discipline should include rules, regulations prohibiting sexual harassment and provide for appropriate penalties in such rule against the offender. Number 3, as regard to private employees, steps should be taken to include the aforesaid authorities. Appropriate work conditions should be provided in respect of work, health, and hygiene to further ensure that there is no hostile environment towards women and workplaces. Then criminal proceedings. Where such conduct amounts to a specific offense under the Indian Penal Code or under any other law, the employer shall initiate appropriate action as per the law. The employer should file or assist the aggrieved in filing the complaint with the appropriate authority. In particular, it should ensure that victims or witnesses are not victimized, discriminated against while dealing with complaints of sexual harassment. The victims of sexual harassment should have the option to seek the transfer of the perpetrator or their own transfer from the workplace, department, from the area of the working, if the complaint is given in writing to the member, to the senior, or to the person in charge. Disciplinary action, where such conduct amounts to misconduct in employment as defined by the relevant service rules, appropriate disciplinary action should be initiated by the employer in accordance with this rule. Complaint mechanism, whether or not such conduct constitute an offense under law or a breach of the service rules, an appropriate complaint mechanism should be created in the employer's organization for effective redressal of such complaints. Complaints committee, this is a very important part, that how you will find the complaint committee. The complaint mechanism referred to in point should be adequate to provide where necessary a complaint committee, a special counselor or other support services, including the maintenance of confidentiality. Here the part of confidentiality is a very important part. The name of the complainant, the whole process should be kept confidential, and anything related to this matter should not be made public. Then the complaint committee should be headed by a woman, and not less than half of its members should be women. Further, to prevent the possibility of any under pressure or influence from senior level, such complaint committee should involve a third party, either NGO or other bodies who are familiar with the issue of sexual harassment. I should tell you one thing very important, that how the process, if God forbid any employee find that some wrong is happening in the institute, some wrong is happening in the institution, someone is trying to do something wrong, what is the procedure? I will tell you very briefly. The woman can file a written complaint. The complaint should be a written complaint to the committee from 3 months from the date of the incident. It should be within the 3 months of the date of the incident, and in case of series of such incident, within 3 months from the last such incident. However, any of delay in filing the complaint can be condoned by the committee up to further 3 months. In case of physical or mental incapability of the aggrieved woman, her legal heirs, or such person described by Rule 6 of the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Rule 2013, may make a complaint. Here, in a very brief manner, I should tell you, a person who is physical or mentally incapable, and she is an aggrieved person or a woman, her legal heirs have all the right and authority to make a complaint to the committee in writing on her behalf. On receiving the complaint, the committee, before initiating any inquiry, very important part, because we people working in an atmosphere, in a very cordial atmosphere, sometime, as Mr. Tandon said, he raised a very, very important point, that it has been found that sometime we became friends and everything goes as per our whips and whims and our will. But something goes wrong and it takes a U-turn. He raised a very valid point that at that juncture, we made a complaint against that colleague that this sexual harassment or something wrong has been done to us. In this act itself, it has been very clearly mentioned, on receiving the complaint, the committee, before initiating any inquiry, it is a very important and a very valid point that the committee may take steps to settle the matter between her and the respondent through conciliation. Yes, we can do that. We have all right and authority, and as per the act, the conciliation can be done. When a settlement is arrived, no further inquiry is conducted. If the conciliation fails only, the term of settlement arrived at not been compiled with by the respondent, the committee shall proceed further with the inquiry. Then, where both the parties are employees, the principle of natural justice is followed and both the parties are heard and opportunity is given to make representation against the findings of the committee. For the purpose of making an inquiry, the committee shall have the same powers as are vested in a civil court. The committee has to complete the inquiry within a period of 90 days. The committee can give certain interim relief to the aggrieved woman during the pendency of the inquiry. You will ask me, sir, what can be the interim reliefs? In college or an institute or an university like Trinity or any other institute, the relief, the committee can give interim relief, which I said earlier. Transfer that person whose against the complaint is filed to another department, can transfer the complainant to another department, can definitely take other appropriate actions which the committee found is part of the relief to be given to the aggrieved complainant during the pendency of the inquiry. The committee, within 10 days after completion of the inquiry, shall provide the reports and its finding to the employer, district officer, and the concerned parties when the allegation is the respondent has been proved. I repeat, when the allegation against the respondent has been proved, the committee shall recommend the employer, district officer to take the necessary action for sexual harassment as misconduct in accordance with the provisions of the service rules, where no such rules have been made as prescribed in Rule 9 of the rules, and to pay such sum to the aggrieved woman as it considered appropriate in accordance with the provisions of the Section 15 from the salary of the respondent. The employer, district officer shall act upon the recommendation within 60 days from the committee, completion of the inquiry and filing of the report. In case filing of false, very important point, in case of filing of false or malicious complaint or false evidence, the committee may recommend to the employer or district officer to take action in accordance with the provisions of service rules where no such service rule exists in such manner as prescribed in Rule 10 of the Rules Act. We have full authority, we have full powers to take action against a false complaint and the false complainant also. The committee has full powers to take the action against the complainant if the complaint is found to be false in any manner which is been provided under the Rule 10 of the Rules Act, which the committee found suitable against the complainant who has filed a false complaint. An appeal can be filed against the recommendation made by the committee before the court or tribunal within 90 days from the recommendation in accordance with the service rules and in the absence of service rule to the appellate authority under Section 2 of the Act. Now, what is the act which defines sexual harassment at workplace and create mechanism for redressal of the complaint? It also provides safeguard against false or malicious charges. The act also covers concept of quid pro quo, harassment and hostile work environment as forms of sexual harassment if it occurs in connection with an act or behavior of sexual harassment. Any hostile work environment is also the forms of sexual harassment if it occurs in connection with an act or behavior of sexual harassment. The definition of aggrieved women who will get protection under the act is extremely wide to cover all women, irrespective of her age or employment status, whether in an organized or unorganized sectors, public or private units. An employer has been defined as any person who is responsible for management, for supervision and control of the workplace, and include persons who formulate and administer the policies of such an organization under Section 2. While the workplace in the Vishaka guidelines is confined to the traditional office setwork, where there is a clear employer-employee relationship, the Act, which was made in 2013, goes much further to include organization, departments, even there is a small department where there is more than 10 employees, where employees are more than 10 in number. That organization is covered under this Act. The private sector, public sector, organized, unorganized, organization, department, office, even the small branch of that particular office or a department is covered under this. Nursing home, educational institution, sport institute, any place where the more than 10 persons are working is included in this Act and is covered by this Act. The committee is required to complete the inquiry, which I already told you. Now, the inquiry process under the Act should be confidential, and the Act lays down a penalty of ₹5,000 on the person who has breached the confidentiality. The complaint committee of our institute, the complaint committee of any institute, any educational institute, has full powers of civil courts for gathering of the evidence. You can even issue notices to the persons who are ready to give any evidence or to record their evidence before the committee. The committee has full powers for that purpose also. The Act requires employers to conduct education and sensitize program regularly and develop policies against sexual harassment, among other obligations. The awareness building program, which we are doing it today, this is the awareness program. All the employees of Trinity Institute, of all the other members of law faculty and some students, as Mr. Tandon and Madam Bakha told me, are there today. So these are all awareness programs which we are building to achieve through banners, posters, e-learning, regular interaction of the employees, managers, and internal committees members to make aware about this policy of the institute and to tell everyone, every individual, that we have the committee which look after and which look into the complaints. So it should be a regular procedure. It should be a regular procedure. Penalties have been prescribed for employers. Non-compliance with the provision of the Act shall be punishable with a fine up to ₹50,000. So under the Act, which also covers students in schools and colleges, as well as patient in hospital, employers will have to set up a grievance committee to investigate all the complaints. Employers who fail to comply will be punished with a fine up to ₹50,000. There are various IPC sections. If the matter is not sorted out, if the matter is not stopped at the institute level, the action taken by the institution committees is not been found to be satisfactory by the complainant. There are other provisions also in the IPC which the complainant can go for that also. In the various sections of IPC, there are various provisions available. If the complainant found that the committee which action has been taken is not up to his satisfaction or her satisfaction, can take the other the other legal ways for her complaint to be redressed. So I should tell you the brief sections which can be taken up, like section 354A was added to IPC, which consists of sexual harassment of offenses, and penalties are there for 1 to 3 years of imprisonment and fine. The one thing very important which is here, and everybody should know, that employers, if any complaint is filed to them, are obliged, they have to report the offenses to the district officers, to the district committees in the various government sectors, and to the forums which required that it has to be informed. The employer is obligated to report the offenses to those authorities which are responsible to take action against the complainant has complained. So I feel that we have to be very sensitive. One, we have to sensitize every person who is working in our institute about this. Committee members should make programs, awareness programs. They should definitely be available to everyone who comes with a complaint. Which I said earlier, the conciliation part, or the counselor, if any appointed by the institute, should make all efforts to settle the dispute at the institution level. We should make programs, arrangements to make this committee exist. You will feel that you will be very sad to know that even today when this act is regulated or it has been passed by the parliament in 2013, it is more than about 8 years have been passed. The data of the various government surveys shows that more than 25% of the institute or organizations do not have any setup related to this act, which is mandatory. They have no platform where the redressal of an aggrieved complainant, of an aggrieved woman is taken up. These are the data of the government which shows now after passing of 8 years, the act is coming into. There is still many institutes, many organizations, many offices which have no body, no setup in their universities or colleges or institution or organizations to look after the complaints. This is the sad part of this act. So, as DSA, District Legal Service Authority, Honorable Delhi High Court is making all-out efforts to make aware about this act, and we as an advocate from DLSA Southwest District are going to every schools, offices, colleges, institution, organizations in our district to make people aware about this act, about what is there in the act, how the committee is to be formed, how much members are there to be formed, how we have to make an awareness campaign in that organization. We are doing it at our level. So this is all about the act. I will feel very honored if anyone, the learned members, faculty members, or any of the students or any of the staff wanted to ask any question, any query regarding this act or anything which is there in their mind related to this act, can ask me their question, and I hope I will try to satisfy their queries or questions at the best of my abilities.
Thank you, sir. So we do have a question answer round at the end of the session. So I would request all the participants, faculty members, if you have any queries, any questions regarding the legal aspects of this act, can put down their queries in the chat box. Meanwhile, I would like to invite Dr. Shashi Bala, Chairperson of Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee, to kindly conclude the session. After the session, we will have a question and answer round, where sir can satisfy the queries of the participants. Shashi Bala, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa.
Welcome.
Just share it. Okay. Main slide कर दूँ. Good afternoon, everyone present here. First of all, I would like to thank the chief guest of the day, Mr. Rahul Buddharaja, who has delivered a wonderful lecture on prevention of sexual harassment, covering all the aspects related to the topic. Thank you, sir. Now you have understanding about the sexual harassment. What is it? What types of the conduct included in it, and what remedies are available to you if you are a victim. So now you have understood that sexual harassment can be verbal, can be physical, or the visual. Visual means that if display of the naked picture or the sex related objects, anything is there. So now I'm giving you an example that is a clear situation, that is a true example of a girl who have to face a different place, because as far as the thing is concerned that the girls are to face this type of the situation at any place. So I would like to clear the situation which girls have to face at different places by giving a true example. As a girl, a medical college of the first year student who is threatened by her professor to attend his classes, failing which the professor insulted and humiliated her in the class. He blackmailed her to spend a night. Finally, the girl complained against the professor to the college management and continued her studies. So that is the right thing that she has approached. As the Martin Luther King has rightly said, that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. So it is very much appreciated if you have to raise your voice if you face any type of the conduct that is not suited to you. Nowadays, an advertisement relating to a campaign No Means No is airing on the TV, and many of you might have seen that ad. The campaign No Means No was introduced to raise the awareness and to reduce the occurrence of the rape and the sexual assault on and off campuses. Basically, this No Means No campaign, we seek to educate our friends, families, co-workers, and strangers to have a greater understanding of their rights and responsibility in sexual relationship, and to empower the people to take back their body in the world has to face such situations daily. But it is not so that the sexual harassment can happen to only girls. It can be with the boys also. Sexual harassers can be fellow students, teachers, coaches, and other school officials. So as sexual harassment could take place anywhere at any time by anyone in any form, it could happen at public place, schools, education institutions, workplace, or even at home. Preventing and effectively addressing sexual harassment of the women in colleges and universities is a significant challenge, but we are optimistic that academic institutions can meet that challenge if they demonstrate the will to do so. Believing in that, TIPS also considered the prevention of sexual harassment committee with the motto, sexual harassment anywhere is not acceptable and has to be rooted out of the society. So our goal of the committee is that our primary to ensure the safety and well-being of the reporting and affected party and the community. Basically, the objective of the sexual harassment committee is that to ensure the implementation of the policy that is framed by our college, and to give a safe environment to the students, and to uphold the commitment of the institute to provide an environment free of gender discrimination, to create a secure physical and social environment to deter any act of the sexual harassment, to promote a social and psychological environment to raise awareness on the sexual harassment, and to be vigilant in the quick response to any odd happening and proper handling the consequences in a disciplined manner. In case of the harassment, exploitation, and intimidation caused by acts of the sexual harassment, when the offense is committed within the office premises or in the institutional premises and other location directly related to our functioning. So it is required that you have to make a complaint to the committee immediately, and the consequences will be that the TIPS will take very serious disciplinary action against the harasser. So there are the steps to take if being sexually harassed. First one is that know your rights. Know your rights means what? As we know that the sexual harassment is illegal, both on the law of the land and the university prohibits sexual harassment. So you can tell the person to stop, state clearly and firmly that you want a particular behavior to cease. So if you feel that you cannot speak up, then ask your friends to help you and bring it to the notice of the internal complaint committee. Second thing is required that do not blame yourself, because it is not the thing that you have committed, it is the other who had committed the offense, as it is a violation of the individual's right to work with live and dignity. Do not ignore it. And the next thing is that because if you ignore it, then ignoring this act does not make it to go away, but it can be escalated. So do not delay. Delay in action increase the probability that unwanted behavior will continue. Second thing is that do not hesitate to ask for help. So speaking up may prevent others from being harmed as well. So there are the certain don'ts, because the TIPS has a zero tolerance policy towards the sexual harassment, and sexual misconduct will be met with a strict disciplinary action. So don't make any sexually colored remarks. Don't ask any inappropriate questions or make suggestions about the person's sexuality. Don't make any unwanted physical contacts or advances. Don't demand or request for any form of sexual favors. Don't share or show any form of pornography. Don't stalk anyone, including cyber stalking. Don't indulge in any form of voyeurism. Don't tolerate any sexual misconduct in your presence. So there are the certain tools, whatever the action is required on your behalf. First one is that raise your voice against sexual harassment and approach the appropriate authority as soon as possible. Show your discomfort if you are feeling uncomfortable by someone's action, comment, or gesture. Familiarize yourself with the laws and guidelines, and that is the reason we have organized this webinar today, that you people must aware what is your rights and what action are required in case of any action is happen. As we have the anti-sexual harassment cell, which assure all the complaints of the students, teaching, non-teaching staffs are treating with great dignity and respect, and the complaint should be maintained in a confidential way. False reported, that as the sir is already explained you that false reporting should not be there. If any false reporting is there, then disciplinary action can be taken against you. And if anything is happened in the premises or outside the premises, then you can make a complaint to the under mentioned persons, as me, that there's a chairperson, Ms. Akshata Gupta, Ratika Malhotra, Swati Somya Mishra is as student convener. So if anything is happened, you can contact these persons as soon as possible. And that is the reason we assure you that nothing can be happen in our premises. If anything happen, you will make a complaint, then the action will be taken as soon as promptly in a way. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Richa.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us such a vision of the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee in our college. Before we move ahead with the formal vote of thanks, there are a few questions which have been asked by the various students. Sir, there's a question from a student. She's asking, what is the context of domestic helpers in the purview of this act?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are the ones.
In case of domestic worker, the local committee shall, if prima facie case exists, forward the complaint to the police within a period of 7 days from registering the case under section 509 of the Indian Penal Code and any other relevant provisions of the said code which are applicable. What we have to do is, I was sure that this question will be asked. I was very sure, because in our houses there are many domestic helps comes and they talk about all this which has been happening to the person which they feel comfortable. While, as Dr. Bala said, it is a very important part that we should, if we have not that courage to come out with the what is happening with us, we should just share our problem or what has happened to us, the harassment or the torture, the physical, mental torture, with someone which we feel comfortable. I was sure, because whenever I have conducted the programs, the people usually the first question is asked to me कि सर हमारे घर एक मेड काम करने आती है और उसने हमारे से ये सब बारे में बात कर रखी है, उसके साथ ऐसा होता है. What we have to do is, we have to write a complaint on her behalf, get her signed from her, get her, if she is not that educated, we should have a thumb impression of her, and the complaint should, as she has mentioned, should be there and should be filed before the area police station, before the area SDM. And we have, as a DLSN advocate, I should add more point and power to this, that we can provide a free legal advice, free legal help, and free advocate for that maid or person aggrieved, to help her out in the court also if the matter comes to the court. So this is the way. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another question is that in case of there is lack of evidence, how do you decide that the case is false or true?
in case there is a lack of
evidence. Yes, sir. The woman doesn't have evidence. She doesn't have evidence. Then how do you decide for that matter? That's what they are asking. They are new to this thing, so they're asking in questions.
Dr. Bala is also giving a very player smile, being a chairperson of the committee, that if, see, the whole law works on a very one single important strategy, that is an evidence. So if there is not any evidence, the evidence may not be in writing, the evidence may not be in some photograph, the evidence may not be in messages, but there must be an oral evidence of a co-employee, there must be an evidence of an co-worker with that person who has complained, yes, this has happened before me, is also very much useful, and it is satisfactory to establish if the person in charge or the chairperson or the member or the person who is looking into the complaint, that it is wrong or right. It is a sheer matter that we have to rely on the evidence. It is the jurisprudence which matters. So there must be some evidence so that I, being a member or a chairperson, should know this is a false or this is a right. मैं ये कह दूं कि आपने मेरे साथ ऐसा गलत काम किया है, या आपने मुझे हरास किया है, या आपने मुझे मेंटल टॉर्चर किया है, या आपने मेरे को जो है मेरे से कोई फेवर लेने की कोशिश की है, या आपने मेरे साथ सही व्यवहार बर्ताव नहीं किया, तो committee has all the powers which I have already described to serve notices to the co-employees, so they can come forward and ask कि क्या बताएं रिचा मैम, आपके साथ तो आपने कंप्लेंट किया, आपके साथ 5 लोग और काम कर रहे हैं, उनमें से 3 लोगों ने भी कंप्लेंट किया कि हाँ ऐसा व्यवहार है. तो I feel Dr. Bala has enough evidence to take action. And if we have a person with Richa ma'am working 5 employees with them, and the other employee says कि सर हमारे साथ तो कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ है, और Richa ma'am जो है, because it is an proceeding which have to be remain confidential, और अलग से बुला करके कोई कहता है कि रिचा मैम ने ये एलिगेशन इसलिए लगाई है क्योंकि वो तो काफी लेट आती हैं और इनको जब भी कहा जाता है, डांटा जाता है, रोका जाता है, तो वो ये एलिगेशन लगा रही है. मेरे सामने भी एक आधी बार ये बात हुई है. So I feel Dr. Bala has enough evidence to see कि yes, this is a false complaint. I have just given an example.
Yes, sir. Sure. We need to be clear on these grounds. That's what I feel. Sir, there is another question from a student. She's asking, sexual harassment can occur outside the work site and still be considered work-related. So incidents which occur at the retirement parties or in training or some of the situations where work-related harassment occurs, is this true that is this true? What we can do, this will come under the purview of this act or not? The student is asking.
It is the training party of the Trinity Institute. It is the farewell party of the Trinity Institute. If it is anyway related to the institute or the organization, it comes and covers under the act. Even if the employee has gone out from the institute and some act follows, yes, the employee has, I repeat, the employee has the it can use or can write a complaint, can bring into the knowledge of the chairperson, and can take appropriate action by filing a complaint to the area of the police station where the action has been done. Yes, as per the question asked by the student, if any party, any get-together, any function is related to the Trinity Institute or the organization where she is working or where he is working, yes, that is complaint is to be the redressed or to be taken up by the committee of that institute.
Thank you so much, sir. I think so we are over with the question. Moving ahead, it's time to conclude the session. It's my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I would like to extend my heartiest vote of thanks on behalf of Trinity Institute of Professional Studies to our resource person, Mr. Rahul Buddharaja, who spared time from his busy schedule and to grace this event. Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening session. This will surely encourage us to contribute towards creating a healthy working environment. Further, I would like to express my gratitude to Southwest Delhi Legal Service Authority for always giving us this immense support for conducting such an enriching sessions for our students and faculty members. I would also like to thank Dr. R.K. Tandon, Chairman TIPS, for giving us such opportunities and platform where we can conduct such events. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Barka Behel, our director ma'am, who has always guided and supported us for conducting these kind of sessions. Dr. Shashibala ma'am, for her constant guidance for conducting this session. Last, not the least, to all my faculty members and participants who made this event successful. Thank you so much. Before